family. Hello. What rhymes with neighbors? Hmm. Not a lot. Not a lot rhymes with neighbors.
Believer?
Yeah.
But I don't even think that
No,
it's
that's not a
like,
word I was
yeah.
saying. I guess you could imagine calling your significant other babers.
You're my beavers.
Thanks, darling.
Okay.
So we're doing a bit of a short stream tonight. Just wanted to, touch base. As they say, I've got a kitty between my feet again. Why must
I'm
you always
here.
sit here? Why? I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward into the second half of the basketball game. It's halftime. Currently, we're down by 22 points. Does not bode well for this game's outcome. Uh, Apparently, there is an unexplained linkage between changes in Earth's magnetic field and the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. Yeah, no one really knows why. Wow, we're gonna get precipitation all the way through tomorrow night, apparently.
Wow.
I dug the car out today. I made it out to the store to get some cigarettes. And
Trouble.
Rachel and I are both a little sick, a little under the weather. I feel slightly feverish, I think, fair to say. But, every day is a new opportunity to live right for the first time forever without stopping. And that's what today is for me. Isn't that amazing? It is for you too. Do you have a topic?
Trouble, get away from trouble.
I don't have a
That is
topic.
middle.
JC Kush, hello. January Sports Highlights, hello. Hello, how are you? Well, you tell me your name. All right. Now I'm going to put this over here, like so.
What did you see, Kush?
Let's have split view, yeah. And we're just going to scroll right down here. As per yeah. You know, that's just typical for the meow meow continuum.
I like your yeah, continuum.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I got it from Continua, the store that sells various continua.
Mm.
So, it's not looking promising for the USC men's basketball team tonight. But, sometimes teams make big second half comebacks. I don't expect it, given SC is unranked, Illinois is number 10 in the country, and up by 20 points. I don't particularly expect to see SC come back here, but it's not inconceivable. And provides a nice, relatively short time frame for the live stream, I think, because I do envision myself having an early night of it. When you include yesterday and today, I've shoveled quite a bit of snow.
Yes, you have.
And I actually feel a little sore in a couple spots from having done so. I also feel like physically, tired in the sense of, well, I got a good workout today, so not like I'm physically tired at the moment, but you know what I'm saying. Hi, cold cream. You may have cold cream, but you know what I have outside? Cold water. That's right, in the form of snow. This has been quite the substantial storm, and from all I could tell from when I went into town earlier today, they went to Boot Jack to get cigarettes. They didn't have the stuff in the deli section that I would have wanted to get. Like, I like the deep fried burritos. They didn't have those. So I went into town to get Subway. I drove past Subway. It was closed. And I was like, well, that's fine. I'll go to the supermarket and get chicken tenders and whatnot. Well, the deli at the supermarket was also closed. So that suggests to me that they must have had a power outage not too long before I arrived in town, though it was over by the time I got there. That's my intuitive conclusion. Thanks, Winston's mom. Hello, how are you? Cold frozen fruit cream. You love fruits. Well, good for you. You love fruits. Fruits love you. Together, you and fruits can make a wonderful salad. Oh, yeah, I am real life tired. I'm not just tired on the internet. I'm in real life tired. Is it because you don't want to get the runs? Is that why you don't eat fruits? Because you can't afford to buy them. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, if there's any consolation, neither you nor I buy fruit. So, between the two of us, we have no fruit. Doesn't it make you feel better to know that you have company in your fruitless world? What company am I talking about? This guy right here. I'm keeping you company in a land of no fruit. This is the best way to get these little hairs off of your ears with a lighter like this, It doesn't burn that hot, so if you do it real quick, it'll burn the hair off, but people are addicted to smoking alcohol? Wow.
Wow, that was a big,
Big
flame.
fire,
Yeah.
Well, just so you know, cold cream, I don't think people actually do smoke alcohol. People smoke drugs of various kinds. People smoke jerky. People smoke cigarettes.
Peace pipes?
Yeah. I don't know what's inside of the peace pipe.
Neither do I.
Hopefully it's something that smokes good, you know. Not like I saw on the Naked and Afraid the other day that people were smoking elephant dung.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Supposedly made them not hungry and feel a little bit high or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously next time elephant poops near my house, I'll just bring it back home and we can smoke it. Rice and lentils, daily same food. Well, you know, the combination of beans and rice creates complex proteins that your body needs. Like, somehow when you mix them together, it's better for you than if you, like, eat them independently of each other in a couple of different meals. Supposedly. Would you say that, would you say Dick Arena was one of the best quarterbacks? Dick Arena? I've never heard of Dick Arena. I do know about Dick Buttkiss.
Yeah.
They did an award after him. Oh, Dan Marino. That's different than Dick Arena.
Yeah, like why the asterisk?
I mean, yeah, Dan Marino was a good throwing quarterback, you know, a great pure passer. But so was Dan Fouts. I would say, you know, they were similar. They were good passing quarterbacks playing for bad teams. But I mean, Dan Marino played for some good Dolphins teams, but um, but I don't know. Back when Dan Marino was playing football, I wasn't as knowledgeable a football watcher, you know. Well, we're down by 24 points. I don't think this game's going to work out very well for us. Your dad is very cruel. I'm sorry to hear that. If you're going to be telling some kind of super bummer story, just, I don't necessarily want to hear
Is that his girlfriend?
it. I didn't see who you were.
Oh.
I didn't see,
Gretzky?
like,
It's
that.
his sister.
No, I don't. Maybe it is his wife. I don't know. They're married. If it is,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see. No, this is his sister and her husband.
Yeah, I always get okay.
And that's why I thought Talia was his sister. I think is because I've seen that lady before, and she's his sister.
Yeah, his sister.
I don't think I've ever heard him name her before. Alpine skiing. Okay. Well, Dad wants you to fail and suffer badly. Well, obviously, that's not ideal. You know, in a more ideal world, your father is loving and supportive. No, 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 no. Yes, this one. You're 35, huh? Your dad's an angry man. Well, sorry to hear that. I used to be more angry than I am nowadays. Canada wins the quarterfinal in overtime. The U.S. won in overtime against Sweden. You want a pineapple pie pizza with whipped cream on top. Yes, you've conveyed that already. You know, we get all kinds of people around here.
You've got a cute face.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So, it's a pretty, I guess, hunkery kind of day. A little bit of hunkering down, as obviously we are in the teeth of Winter Storm 2026. I was very surprised by how much snow we got. We haven't gotten this much snow since Snowmageddon.
Snowmageddon. That's what I was asking you. Like, if you think it's gonna be Snowmageddon again? Because aren't we gonna get more snow after Thursday?
I don't know, but it's, for whatever reason, it's like, I mean, it's less overall by a lot because during Snowmageddon we had like little wall, like you only had like one lane of road because there's so much snow.
That's true. That's right. And it's not like that. The roads.
You know, it's not that built up on the sides. Like, you get built up on the sides like that from the snowplows, it's gotta be more than just one several day storm. It's gotta be several such storms. Back to back to back. Alright, you glanced at my news. I thought I had hidden my news away in secret. Yes, we successfully got cigarettes. I realized after I dug out the car again today, I mean, I mostly had to dig out the end of the driveway so that I could, you know, I had it all dug out. Blah, blah, blah. But the reason I was unable to, leave last night was almost certainly because I had the parking brake on and forgot about it. See you later, Cold Cream. Have a nice evening. Volstopfen. Marcus Braun. Hello. I don't know what that means. People stop. Stop, people stop. Everybody stop. That's what it means, maybe.
I think it means that you're really cute.
Thanks, beautiful.
You're welcome.
Okay, well,
Why not?
because my tongue feels a little bit like cut up from eating those chips earlier. And yeah, I don't want it to be all stingy. Those kettle cooked chips are delicious, but they do kind of tear up your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, they do.
What's that kind of cereal that tears up your mouth so much? Is it Captain Crunch?
Captain Crunch, yeah.
Yeah.
With the little squares.
Yeah,
Right?
I wonder what it is about that cereal that makes it like that.
It's dense, right? And it's square. They're square puffy.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure the squareness of things makes them
But it's like a 3D kind of like, it's sort of like,
It's like a little cube.
yeah,
A
kind
little
of.
pillow.
Yeah, it's not a pillow. They're hard.
Yeah, you gotta let them soak for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rachel and I are enjoying a quiet Wednesday evening here at home. And I'll turn on the lights out here and we'll see if it's currently snowing. But we certainly have had a lot of it. It was very photogenic, picturesque out today. Wow, this is a lot of snow. This really is quite a bit. You know, if you look up on the roof, we got quite a pile of it. It's snowing some more right now. If you look at the mini, which has not been driven since it started snowing, obviously. That's a lot of snow. Quite the surprise to get that much snow. Hi, Carrot. Hi, G. I'm a little feverish. I got some kind of a virus, and I also got a sore wrist and some sore muscles around my ribs kind of area from shoveling snow before. But I have to say the following. Yesterday I went out to shovel snow. It was a task I ended up breaking into 2 sessions of snow shoveling. But after I shoveled snow for the first session, and I haven't really gotten any exercise in a fair amount of time, not like strenuous work kind of exercise anyway. After that first time, I thought like I was just gasping for breath and staggering back to the house, going like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die." The second time, I handled it much better than my body did, and I was much less short of breath. And the third time this morning, even better. It's remarkable how responsive your body can be to behavioral stressors. In this case, it would be a stressor in a good way, obviously. That's Jared. Let's see what Jared has to say. Be right back. Give me 1 sec. I'm back. I wasn't gone for very long. I promise you I'd be right back, and I was. So, if you found it scary to be by yourself with me gone, well, I'm pleased to note that you were only scared for a short amount of time. So when I came back in this morning from doing the snow shoveling, my hands were so cold. They were very painful until they warmed back up. And I thought to myself, hey, Eric, maybe you should put on gloves. I even had gloves in here. Draw something? Is that your topic suggestion? Is it I draw something? So I'm watching the Olympics here with Rachel. we earlier watched the pretty exciting event of speed skating. Speed skating is pretty fun to watch. Then we watched a pleasingly entertaining snowboarding event, snowboard freestyle. Watch out for the yellow snow. Yes, that's what my father always told me. I assume that yellow snow is more prone to avalanche. Is that why? Am I ready for spring? Well, my poor daffodils here getting buried in snow. They thought it was spring a little too early, and now they're paying the price. I gotta be right back outside. I just want to get this thing here. Combustible. What's combustible? Snow? No, it's actually made out of water. Or you're pretty uncombustible, you know. As far as stuff you want to use when you want to start a fire, water is not one of your better choices, frankly. First, fill this bowl with water. Now, put 2 sticks in the water and rub them together. Before long, you will have steam. You have to rub those together pretty fast to get steam, I think. So we're getting a very light little bit of snowfall right now. So cute, non-threatening kind of snowfall. I can't reach out that far, but little teeny snow pieces. Eric, will you give terrorists? Will I give terrorist Bong a kiss on the lips? No, I'm not making a snow angel. It's cold out here. I'm already sick, you know. I am so glad I moved the car up to the end of the driveway when I had a chance to yesterday, or the day before, whenever it was. You would not want to be stuck down here with the car. I'd never get out. It would take God knows how long for I'd be able to get it out. If I had to dig it all the way up to the top of the driveway up there. Or even worse, that way. No. So, I have learned since we moved here. When it's going to snow, don't park the car down at the bottom. Park it at the top. It's called being a genius. What I did some important calculations. And I determined that gravity makes it more difficult, but more importantly, that the more you have to shovel to free up your car, the less likely you are to free it up at all. Yeah, some people have snowblowers. I have a snowblower, but it turns out the kind of snowblower I got anyway, it's kind of a low end one, and it's helpful for some kinds of snow, if, in some kind of circumstances, but for the situation I had where I only had a little bit to shovel away out in front of the car there, And more importantly, I didn't have a lot of distance to shovel, but there's a pile of snow plowings. Those don't snow blow at all. Those are like icy, dirty chunks of horribleness. So since that's what I mostly had to shovel, um, it just didn't even make any sense to try to bring out the snowblower. Plus, I appreciate the exercise. Felt good to do some strenuous manual labor and breathe hard, and also see something, see a nice task like that through to fruition, such that I actually successfully did get the car dug out and was able to drive someplace. Thanks, Teabag. Yeah, I did more shoveling today. Turns out I could have gotten out last night almost for sure, but I forgot I had the parking brake on, and that's probably why it wasn't moving forward. And the funny thing is, I remembered the parking brake was on just as I was finishing up shoveling it out more today. So I didn't make the same mistake again and then realize it. I remember, wait a second, I think I put the parking brake on. It's the kind of step down parking brake where your left foot is, not the kind that you pull up in the middle. So it's easy to forget about it. That is a night for people who like to be cold.
You cute cheeks.
Thanks.
Both top and bottom.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And one of the things that's super remarkable about my cheeks, all four of them are triple dimpled.
That's true. They're quadruple dimpled.
Yeah, well, if you add up all four cheeks, it's actually 24 dimples.
24?
24 total. 24 total dimples.
Wait, what?
Yeah. 4 cheeks, 6 dimples each cheek now. That's why. She did for a bit. You shoveled for 2 hours today. Let me see what this says up here. What? Seriously, dude. I watched you eat already. Dark roast coffee makes the chest feel good. Well, I like coffee that's on the stronger side when I have plenty of non-dairy creamer and also half and half. Then it's good, it's strong because you get all the flavor of it, but it's softened by plenty of softeners.
I like your softening of things.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
The state snake of Texas is
The Florida Lance.
the Florida Lance. That's right. She did. She does the back finished, then came to help me. So you got to do a lot of shoveling. There's usually a bright red light on the dash that reads brake. Probably there was, but this is a new car to me, And last night I had plenty of reason to think that if the car wasn't going forward, that it had something to do with the fact that it was buried in snow rather than I had the emergency brake on,
The United States got something with this track thing. This snow event.
Which vitamin?
What?
Which vitamin was in your vitamin water? Was it vitamin C? That's everybody's favorite vitamin. Yeah, it looks like the U.S. got something.
Yeah, I think.
What did we get? Let's find
I
out.
don't know.
Apparently, there's different kinds of benefits from probiotic microbes. Depending on whether you consume them encapsulated or not. That if it's thought that the reason this difference exists is because the encapsulated ones go deeper into your digestive system or whatever, into your intestines, and have a different impact. But apparently, the encapsulated ones improve mental acuity, clarity, I guess, and the less encapsulated ones improve mood more. You get Greek yogurt for probiotics. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
You summoned Reuben, huh? I don't see any Reuben here. 5th place under your tongue. Do you get great value Greek yogurt? We don't seem to get yogurt much anymore because it's either has shit tons of sugar in it or I don't like it.
What?
Yogurt.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't like plain Greek yogurt.
It's one of two possibilities. Either it's got a lot of yogurt, a lot of sugar in it, or I don't like it. So I'd be better off getting kefir.
Kefir is what we should get, because that has good probiotics.
Yeah. Oikos is good and cheap. Greek yogurt, the best thing to come out of Greece since Telly Savalas.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Can I touch your bottom cheeks?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Touch my bottom cheeks. Yeah, it's been a long day. It's been a heck of a day. Been a full day.
I like to touch your bottom cheeks.
Hi, Ruben R. You know, maybe you're right. Maybe my thing is right, but I'm showing 11, 13 now, people, not 5. I also showed more than 5 last time you put that. So, just for the record, who loves you, baby? That's right, Kojak loves you. But more broadly, Telly Savalas loves you. That's why he wants you to use Diners Club for all of your credit card purchases. Does Diners Club still exist? Hmm. Yes, it does still. You can still use Diners Club, but it piggybacks on either Discover or MasterCard. Hmm. I uh, I just completed a backflip right before you got here, Joseph Erickson. Otherwise, I'd do it. I only do backflips so often these days because I found it makes people feel like not that cool compared to me. So, I like to try to let other people have their moment in the sun. Barrel roll. I don't have any barrels. Otherwise, I would be rolling them places, I'm sure, but in the absence of any barrels, I have nothing to roll. You know the Frankenstein scene where he throws the girl in the water? I don't know that scene, actually. Tomorrow's going to be 83 degrees in Houston. Well, good for Houston. What? 83 degrees Celsius? That's pretty hot. You're going to have a problem surviving when it's that hot. Throw her into the water.
AI.
No, I think it's from the actual Frankenstein movie. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I understand why you think that's funny. We just watched this snowboarding. Oh, that's skiing now. Okay, we need to get to the skiing part. Let's see. It is rather absurd. I've been watching this channel called Brutal Moose, but more specifically, I've been watching these videos he makes on VHS tapes that he finds like in thrift stores or in estate sales or whatever. Anyways, it's kind of a fun concept for a video series, right? Like watch old videotapes that people made that usually have an assortment of different things that they recorded from the TV on them. Like find weird old commercials, particularly local ones, and see what movie they were showing, a movie of the week or what have you. How do we find Nancy Guthrie? Um, I don't know. Can we go back in time and put an air tag on her? I was in a movie that I never got to see. Years later, I found the VHS at a thrift store. Hopefully not Fly Guy. those things where you do all these tricks and stuff. They just seem so dangerous.
They are.
Watching random VHS movies is a good way to get cursed. Fair. That's cool. I have a similar thing to where I was in Austin about 15, 16 years ago when they were filming The Librarian 3 or 4. There's a scene on 6th Street with a crowd of people that I might be in. But I never checked. Well, then I guess you're just going to have to live in the hazy world of maybe for the rest of your life. That's just the natural consequence of your own bad behavior, Ruben. Now you'll never get to know. In order to get to know, you'd have to watch both Librarian 3 and 4 potentially. I didn't even know there was a Librarian 1. The whole movie about a lady who puts books back on the shelves, shushes people, and sighs, lamenting the death of the library as an institution. It's a French art film. And that's why they talk French through the whole thing. La plage. Yeah, Librarian 1 before the Librarian series jumped the shark. You know what I always felt about libraries? Libraries, my
Oh, I saw that coming.
It's like everyone's all quiet in there studying and stuff.
I was happy when I had nowhere to go, though, when there was a library.
Well, it was like, I always felt like they lied to me. They suggested, implied, maybe even stated directly that if I went to the library, I'd get studying done. But I never got anything done at the library. It made my schoolwork no less intolerable, whether I was at the library, at home, at school. It didn't matter where I was. I still didn't want to do it. Longer version for context if you want to watch it later. Sounds like you should make a documentary show media called Me and My Library Card. You thought about that? My library card goes with me everywhere I go. You're trying to discuss things you can't talk. You have to go outside the doors of the library to go discuss your topic. Well,
I like libraries. I like libraries. If you are kicked out of your house and you have nowhere to go, you can
go to the library.
Yeah.
Makes me sad to think of you enduring such treatment. That's fine. Did I ever not return a book? Maybe. I don't know. Like, the thing is, if I'm discussing things then I'm already not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I go to the library, be like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this homework. I'm going to read this stuff I'm supposed to read and or work on writing a paper or something at the library. No, I would just be at the library and just be like, oh God, I hate school. I hate school work. I don't want to do any of this stuff. And it's tearing me apart. So your cousin told you to get a library card with any name on it. So then he took me to the library and I got a library card listed. My name is Mac Daddy. Wow. I guess it's because you were such a player.
It's like McLovin.
Bunny and a rabbit. The music man. Is that me? I'm the music man. Well, good for me. It wasn't true, huh? The cool thing about a library card is it functions as definitive proof for whatever claim you might be making. If I wasn't king of the world, why would it say so on my library card?
Right.
You think the library is just going to lie to everybody like that? Like, do we even really have any reason for anybody to learn the Dewey Decimal System anymore? Or is it just the telegraph of our times? Hey, look, it's Martha Stewart, it's Snoop Dogg. This is only the second time I've seen Snoop here at the Olympics. I saw him like in one of the days before the opening ceremony, I was watching curling. And then this is just the second time I've seen him.
I wonder if it was taped.
I mean, you know, he's definitely there at the Olympics.
Is he still there?
Well, I mean, there's that guy who's an American figure skater right there. That guy. Alyssa Liu is third after the short program, even though she's from Oakland. I don't know how anybody learns to figure skate in Oakland.
I don't know. That's a good question.
She must have constantly been having her car broken into, her skates stolen. Amber Glenn is another American. She's also going to be skating today, I guess. Women's slalom run 1. Okay, good. Skiing. I prefer skiing over snowboarding. Snowboards are just.
I prefer.
You prefer snowboards over skiing?
Well, I don't have a preference because I don't do either of them, so.
Or do you prefer watching snowboarding?
Yeah, well, I guess maybe I do, because, they do those flips and stuff.
Really? They do it on skis too.
That's true. I again, don't.
You've tried skiboarding? It's a snowboard, but coming from the bottom of the snowboard are two skis. That's for extra fall down inevitability. Will you autograph my library card? Look, everybody, Martin Sheen autographed my library card. The Martin Sheen? Well, a Martin Sheen. They're like rollerblades. It's keyboards, huh? Well, in case those people haven't heard, wheels are for summer. This lady seems to be doing fine. These slaloms, so a slalom event, you know, if they didn't have that little clock that tells you if they're going faster or slower than the best time, then you'd never really know what you were watching. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference probably that easily. Like, oh, it's obvious this lady's going faster because there's only like a second or two difference between, you know, first place and last place. So that lady took 48.39 seconds to get down the hill. She's the first one to go, so she's in first place right now. But if you think she's going to stay in first place all the way to the end, you're probably wrong.
I want you to be the perfect person for me in every metric.
Okay, you got it. What was that? Kathleen Turner. She was really big back in the 80s.
And 90s.
And 90s,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
She had made a name for herself by the 90s, like where.
It's just kind of weird because it's like she doesn't really fit into any clear kind of actress or something.
Yeah.
She's kind of like got a little bit of like Joan Crawfordiness to her.
Yeah.
But like sometimes she'll play like a sexy broad, and then sometimes she'll just play like a regular lady. Romancing the Stone.
Yeah, that's what makes me think of it.
Is the number one thing I think of too, but I saw her in some of those old ads on that channel I was watching earlier. And then you go, Kathleen Turner, she really was a face of the times back then. You think she's still alive?
I don't know.
And what about that guy she was in Romancing Stone with? You know, Kurt Cameron?
Kurt Cameron?
No. Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas.
Is he still alive? She fucked up there at the end. And that slowed her down a lot. I'm not sure where. There it is, that. Yeah. That's why you got a bad score, lady. Way to embarrass America. Michael Mugless. I wonder if Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas eventually got married.
Oh no. Because they were in a movie together. Isn't that, I feel like kids think like that.
Yeah,
I used to think
because,
like
you know, at the end of Romancing the Stone, it seems like maybe they're going to get married. Or maybe they even do get married in the movie.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Did we watch that together?
I think so.
We did?
Maybe, like, when we first got together or something.
Yeah,
Because I've watched it since I saw it a super long time ago,
Okay.
and not that long ago, so I must have watched it with you. Sea Rast is from Switzerland, and she's skiing her little heart out. Mel Brooks is coming out with Spaceballs 2. Who thought, say, I don't know, 30 years ago, that we'd be seeing a new Mel Brooks movie in 2026? That's crazy. Michael Douglas married Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's supposed to marry Antonio Banderas.
That's also from a movie too. You should rewrite it.
Yeah.
No. Kathleen Turner to be married to Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones to be married to Antonio Banderas.
Michael Douglas, he should marry, I'm thinking, Brooke Shields.
Okay.
And I think that Tara Lipinski should marry Johnny Weir. It'd be the most fabulous couple on the whole ice skating circuit. I wonder what they do when it's not the Olympics. Yeah, show me dear. He is 99 years old, and he's coming out with a new movie, Spaceballs 2. He hasn't made a good movie in 75 years, but he's going to try and make another one anyway. Richard Van Lesbian also, right? Richard Van Lesbian is 99? Who's Richard Van Lesbian? Never heard of that person. There was somebody in the Olympics today whose last name was Cockburn. Andre Agassi was with Brooke Shields? Wow. Andre Agassi was supposed to marry Martina Navratilova. I guess he didn't get the message.
Should Oprah marry Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz?
I'm not sure who Dr. Oz is. I know the name, but I can't picture the face. So I'm gonna go ahead and marry her to. I'm gonna have her get into a polyamorous marriage. She can marry Dr. Phil and her friend, that lady.
Oh yeah,
That she's so into.
yeah, she is so into it.
And then also
Gail?
we can toss into the mix The Rock.
Okay.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Gail, Dr. Phil, and Oprah in a 4-person polyamorous relationship.
Are you my forever person?
Yes, I am. All right. Let me tell you, this Oz character is no more a doctor than he is a wizard. He's just some guy saying things. Oh, I'm a doctor. It's bad for you to eat that. You should eat this instead. Shut up, doctor. All those people are all Epsteiners.
Yeah. They are.
Okay, so this lady here, Michaela Schifrin, she's famous. Her name sounds familiar. She must have a decent chance of winning the medal.
I don't know. I don't think she does anymore.
Oh, is she no longer competing?
Didn't she go like first or whatever, not do like?
Oh, that was Lindsey Vonn.
Oh.
But she may just be like a commentator now. I don't know. Maybe she is competing. Maybe not. Well, she competed in Sochi in 2014. No, it could have been 2014. Oh, that's right, because of the 18, 22, 26. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I guess she did well in Sochi. Let's see what happens next. What about in 2018? Beijing 2022. Let's see how she does there. So I'm assuming she must be skiing this Olympics. They wouldn't have a whole big thing about her, would they?
No, I don't think so.
Slalom. Oh.
Hey, how come we're not seeing the? Oh wait. Yeah, we're not really seeing the updates, are we?
No, this is the last thing that's showing up on
I
the phone
see.
because I have it on top chat rather than live
Okay.
chat, I guess. Anna Kournikova got with Enrique Iglesias.
Like you're like so long ago, like decades ago.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
How many of you think that Elizabeth Taylor faked her own death? Me. Here she is, Michaela Schifrin. She is skiing again. She Olympic did in 2014, 18, 22, and now 26. This is her fourth Olympics. What type of idle, sometimes intellectual chit-chat masturbation is going on tonight? Not much. Not too much. So I need to listen to more of that guy, Curtis Yarvin. I mean, I get the gist of his advocacy being that there's some sort of like authoritarian leadership paradigm that would be more effective than constitutional democracy or something, but oh, that Richard Van Lesbian. I forgot about him. Let's go, Michaela Schifrin. Ski your little heart out. I'm not following brought up because I was under the impression of CI. I need to listen to more of it, but I mean, I think what he is most of all is NI. Michaela Schifrin is now in the lead. She's winning the slalom race so far, but you know, everybody who runs down her race after Michaela Schifrin might go faster.
Very important person in my life.
Thanks, beautiful.
Okay.
But also, you know, he might very well be TI. Just because you're TI doesn't mean you're not wrong. That nimble guy, he seems so sharp. Oh, you mean Curtis Yarvin? Well, yeah, he seems pretty sharp to me too, really. But you know, do the Jamaicans have a bobsled team? I don't think so, not this year. Matthew Alistair, I just have one song to sing to you. It goes a little something like this. Yeah. Oh man. IHATEMYSELF. Dick Van Dyke. He's got not the greatest name, you know. But I'll check out Curtis Van Yarvin's sharpness. I don't know, I haven't listened to much of it, but he does seem to generally be advocating in favor of kings, you know. Jaw Rastafari. Irie. Indeed. One love. One Love Jamaica Ivory. Ads for TikTok. There aren't ads for YouTube. There's ads for YouTube TV, but I don't see television ads for regular YouTube like there are for TikTok, do you?
No. TikTok is a dumpster fire.
This beverage is empty. Harold Shipman. Who's Harold Shipman?
Harold and Kumar.
Have I ever had sex before? Let me see. I think so. I've been pregnant before?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, odds, you know. But it might have been a virgin birth, though. Like,
You might have been a virgin birth.
yeah.
Your mom was a virgin when she had you, you're saying?
You know what I'm saying? I was a virgin when she had me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You stayed one.
I stayed one this time.
Yeah, but you had a baby.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I like it from you.
Another virgin birth.
Yeah.
I had an epic lint collection day at the 3 laundromats in town. Got 3.6 pounds. Found a pair of unclaimed Nike socks. Well, it sounds like Ten Rag, you've got your week all planned out. No, you didn't mention that. Ruben was a D-section baby. And that's when they reach down the mother's throat into the uterus and just pull it out with their hand. Hello, JNCC792. Nice to see you too. I'll have to take your word for it that we've met before. I don't recall, but I'm sure it was a wonderful time.
The D section stands for dick section.
A dick section, baby. Nobody would ever have any children if that was a possibility.
They still shouldn't with a B section. No epidural.
Well, oh, you kind of fucked up at the end there, Sven Larsson. Sven Larsson. How much more of a Swedish name could you get? Sven Larsson.
Larson, yeah.
Well, I believe we talked about magic mushrooms, is that right? I mean, I do talk about those fairly often. I mean, I live stream a lot, you know, like every day. So, I also do mushrooms a lot, so. And it's further the case that if I were on mushrooms, then I don't remember my mushroom trips particularly well. So, I might have, let's say, 7 units of remembering you on a normal stream, but I only have like 2 units of remembering you on that kind of stream. I found out my IQ is 133 with spiky profiles. So I have significant deficits to compensate for 'em. And fluid reasoning and verbal. What do you think of IQ in general? I'm new to looking into it. My sense is to screw sensors over. IQ's dumb because it's it's an attempt to add together scores scorings of things that are legitimate legitimately distinct things, right? Like verbal reasoning and visual pattern recognition are very distinct things. And it's not the case that you can better understand somebody's cognition to appeal to a generalized IQ score than to actually talk about things that you can measure that are distinct. There is no such thing as generalized intelligence, and simply uh, weighting these things in some fashion, equally or arbitrarily or whatever, and calling it a more meaningful measurement than something that measures actually something specific is ridiculous. I would also say that generally when people talk about intelligence in some sort of general sense, it includes some capacity for generative stuff like insight that is novel and or capacity to, let's say, generate, well, like for example, it you might not typically think intelligence includes, say, creativity of like painting, right? But you would typically think that intelligence includes something like being able to come up with a bunch of uh, critical thinking slash logic curriculum, like being able to come up with and make up proofs and stuff that and determine whether they're valid on the fly. But that's not something that you're going to measure with a test. It's really difficult to measure generative capacity because um, generating just random garbage may be a skill of sorts, but it doesn't have any value in and of itself, right? So something has to be both novel and intuitively resonant. Let's see what Home Fries says here. What do you like to do when you feel overwhelmed with sadness or anxiety? Um, well, there's some things that typically will make me feel a little less overwhelmed by those things, such as physical exercise, uh, talking to people, not being isolated. Live streaming can often help. Um, accomplishing tasks or getting tasks done, what have you, that might make a difference. The ability to utilize nuance without going to extremes is solid intelligence. Is that what this says? I like to put together playlists on the off social meds. Which is called Soul Bleach. When I saw the most heartwarming clips, I'd like to imagine when I'm depressed to watch some of those. Hi there, Alex Holdfast. And for anxiety, I try to go easy on myself and micro commit to small wins. Like one push up or one phone call or 3 minutes of the work I'm avoiding. Those are that's a good response. Those are some good responses from Ruben there. For a change, I'm just kidding, Ruben. You always have good responses to things. Like that one time I said to you, knock, knock, and you're like, who's there? Like, bang, on the nose. That's exactly what I was looking for. Wow, so much snow. And it's still coming down. And look, there's an icicle. See it? It's cold. Man alive, is it cold? Let's see what that says. Why did an elderly lady fall into a well? She couldn't see that well. That's fine. Yeah, we got so much. I would continue to be amazed that we're getting as much snow as we are. Because we didn't have any all season long, and now we got feet of it. Please, on JoJo, reward yourself with just moving things along just a little bit. Often you'll feel more motivated to continue, but you must allow yourself to stop guilt-free after the micro commitment without beating yourself up. The difference between a snowman and a snow woman, snowballs. Hey, it's more than just that, okay? Snow women share a common oppression by snowmen. And that's why they form the Snow Sisterhood. Obviously, we should blame the snow patriarchy. I've been making change, a lot of change. Hard for me to read that. Just had to see the progress when all of it isn't instantly rewarded. I know working out hard. I know sometimes getting out of the hard, I tell myself I do good. Out of the bad, I tell myself I do good. Yeah, well, and sometimes times change kind of on their own. Like I was going through a lot of depression, anxiety stuff some months back that was pretty bad around the holidays, but I've noted a marked change in my overall mood, attitude, everything. So, and it's just because a certain amount of time has passed, certain stuff's got processed that needed that time to get processed or what have you. It's like it's true that I started doing things differently, but it's not true that I chose that really. It's kind of the natural consequence of passage of time. Like my choosing to do things didn't change my attitude. My attitude changed and I started choosing to do things more. Very well. Normally this would have happened earlier in the stream because we all know about history's greatest laxative. Okay, you watch the cat. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Build an igloo. I don't want to build an igloo. Why? Because I prefer to sleep in the warm house. Well, I was prescribed an antidepressant and I was on it for a while, which was Wellbutrin. It was prescribed to me as an antidepressant. But in the end, it may have had some antidepressant qualities at first, but ultimately I felt like I no longer needed it, and more importantly that it caused more anxiety than it did antidepressant for me. I can't take stuff at all anymore. Just don't take it. I already watched you eat so much. Why am I back here? Alright, you guys watch the cat while I go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. I'm back, and the excitement is turned up to 10. Also, I need to charge this here. This. Let me get. Is this one gonna work? Probably not. No. This one might work on this. No, okay, so it is this cord. All right, that's good to know. We've identified the source of the problem. Is that charging or not? Huh. I can't tell. So I could get another little charging cable. He doesn't like the wet food. For what kind of sports the expression that the Yeti from Ski Free does after he eats you? The doctors here, once they put you on an antidepressant, they prescribe it for the rest of your life, which I think is wrong. I came off them a good few months ago and felt fine. He does like tuna juice, but I'm not going to open a can of tuna every time I feed the cats. They aren't kings of the world. Okay. Let me try this one and see how that works. So, last night when I was shoveling snow and live streaming, a little bit of water got into my phone charger hole here, and it seems to have fried the fast charging brick and or cable. It does seem that that's the problem because I tried charging this with the fast charging one and it doesn't work. So do I have a farm? No, I do not have a farm. I am farm free. The only thing that I farm, I do grow weed, but just enough for me and the wife's heads. Of course.
Sorry, I said one, but
That's fine.
got to.
I do not have a farm, John. Show us outside your home. Okay. I can't show you that well because there's a lot of snow on the ground, so I don't want to walk out into the snow, you know. It's a lot of snow. We live in mountains, and there's just like forest around our house. The backyard is just the hill that goes down there to a shed down there in the back. And there's no flat place really to do any farming. And there's the working car. This car is broken. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, so you can see how much snow look on the roof up there too. Icicles and everything. Just like real winter. You're so lucky you're allowed to grow weed legally. Yes, that's true. We are fortunate about that. And the amount we're allowed to grow is enough for us to have weed for the whole year if we grow the legal limit or close to it. Because we're allowed 5 plants per adult in the house. And me and Rachel equal 2 adults.
Yeah.
I'm not even including the cats. I think I should get to grow 5 plants per cat as well, but we don't really need to. Yeah, it's been this snowy here before, but this is a lot of snow at once. It's unusual for us to get this much snow at once.
Are we gonna survive it?
Oh, we'll survive. I was able to get out and into town today, even.
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that? Look at this bundle of precious goodness. She's an important kitty friend with important kitty ways. It's not unusual to get this much snow at once. Okay, put this in here. Got a beverage. Is this Rachel's beverage here? Is this ice cream? This lemonade? Lemonade.
Lemonade, yes, that's mine. Thanks.
There you go. So, I did end up using my vape last night when I was out of cigarettes. And it immediately started making me cough a lot again. You have to get used to it for a little while, because if you switch to cigarettes from cigarettes to vaping, when you first start vaping, it makes you cough a bunch.
What's different? Inhalation.
I mean, I guess it's like smaller molecules or something. She's won 57 of 71 races, I guess, in her whole career. Michaela Schifrin. Go to mama. Go.
Yes.
Love your mother, okay?
Come here.
You have 2 parents, not just one. Paula Moltzan. I'm sure her nickname is Lava. Molten Lava. But I don't have that kind of problem vaping Brennan's cart.
Is it like still? It does. The battery just does not last, but.
Oh, I guess it needs to be charged. My bad.
Hi, Alex. Hold fast.
She's kitty petting.
Yeah, kitty petting.
Do I ever call him Banana? No, I never called him Banana, but maybe I will now. Next time he leaves, I'm gonna say, "Are you gonna banana split?"
I like that. Are you gonna banana split?
So P. Moltzen is taking the first place spot. He's in first place now.
Oh, for shipping?
Yeah, well, I guess somebody else was also in front of Shipper. I'm not sure why. I'm not particularly hungry right now, but
You want me to eat something?
no, thank you. No, I'm just thinking. I'm just musing out loud a little bit. about things that I might, in theory, eat. Here, 25-year-old A.J. Hurt of the U.S. in her final run of these games, her second Olympics. AJ. AJ sounds like a boy's name. She's behind by 0.4 of a second at the first measuring spot. So I mean, like, if they didn't have those measuring things, no, I did make a little loaf of bread out of the rest of that dough, a little loaf of sourdough bread. Came out okay if you like hard crust bread, I guess. Well, you were a second, 0.14 behind P. Moltsan. Alex is also a boy's name, and so is Jesse. Oh, sure, could be Alexandra, Jacindra. But let's not lie to ourselves. Her name's AJ, and it stands for Andrew John. That's why she chose to go by her initials. Now Team Switzerland is up. They're at the top of the hill. And obviously, every member of the Swiss team is equipped with a Swiss Army knife. Gives them a bit of an advantage if they need to open a bottle of wine on the way down the hill. Oh, yeah, because they got the one with the corkscrew on it, of course. Paul Moltsan is still talking, but maybe she should be keeping an eye out on her competition, M. Millard from Switzerland, because she's got a 0.6 second lead on the initial measuring spot. In theory, if I'm just hungry for more food, I could finish my dinner, which I have a little bit of leftovers for. But if I wanted to go crazy, well, then I've got other options available to me. I don't really need to go crazy though, because I bought some cheese Danish at the store when I went to the store today, and I could just have some of that with some coffee. It would be delicious, I'm sure. Wow, 4/100ths of a second. M. Millard takes the lead over P. Moltsan. The wine corkscrew is a hidden self-defense weapon. Let's see how well you'll attack me when I take out your cork. Hold still. Oh, I broke the cork. I'll have to push it into the wine. I mean, your body. I'm just wondering though, Fly Guy, if you're using a Swiss Army knife as a self-defense weapon, wouldn't you be better served to use the knife part? Right. That's the sound of a man's soul leaving his body when I pull the cork out. And then I say to him, and this is why the Swiss Army has never lost a war. Really? And that takes more skill? Because if you're asking me, Fly Guy, I think that stabbing is easier than screwing something in. You've been screwed. That would be the catchphrase for sure, yeah. Hi, Alamo City Cello. The wine bottle offers a larger weapon. Okay, You just punch with the corkscrew? I'm not really buying your your like all looked like it was lost. But then the underdog surprised his opponent by using the corkscrew, and that won him the battle. I don't think so. I'm sorry. Why not just at least use the leather punch? And then you can still, you have to worry about cutting your own fingers on it, but you can still punch with it, but goes in better than corkscrew. Well, I'm just saying, look, if you got corkscrew on your Swiss Army knife, decent chance you got the leather punch too. Let's just go ahead and use the leather punch. I'm really gay that everyone's here. Me too. You could also, if you have a Swiss Army knife that has a fish scaler, you could use that to scale your opponent. And I am so gay that we together can all enjoy the Olympics. For all of it supposedly meaning happy, people historically have not used it like that use of happy, right? Oh my God, I'm so gay that you got the job. A gaggle of gays. A gaggle of gays is a Google of gays. Did you see these guys wearing big diamond-shaped rings? Ha ha for the Olympics. Big diamond-shaped rings? Which guys are wearing those? Hi, beautiful Earth 71. Life is short, eternity is forever. Hmm. You're currently smoking a fag, huh? Well, that inspired me to want to go outside and smoke a fag. It's actually a goggle. It's not a Google. 10-4. Tobacco tube. That's what they should have named cigarettes to begin with. Tobacco tubes. That way you know what you were getting. I'm getting a tube filled with tobacco. Back in the day, Disneyland used to have a tobacconist. Why? Because back then, they understood how classy, family-friendly, and healthy smoking was. Now it's like everyone's lost their minds. It's like, oh, I guess nowadays it's fine to put transsexuals on the moon, but we can't even smoke cigarettes in Disneyland. What is this world coming to? I'm a tobacco beauty. Thanks, darling. I was voted International Miss Tobacco, 1967. They've retroactively awarded it. My slogan was, why breathe plain air when you can smoke? Stop by friends. Stop by friends. Stop by friends. I'm not quite sure how to interpret that, Paulo Edmund. Well, I've got some good news for you, Alex Holdfast. Smoking loves you too. That's why smoking got you a Valentine's Day card this past Valentine's Day. It said, um, there's never a no smoking sign on my heart. Would somebody want to explain this to me? Like, why is it that TikTok has advertisements? What a great platform TikTok is. I don't ever see any YouTube advertisements. Why isn't YouTube out there advertising my channel specifically? Well, here's Sven Larson again. Hey, smoke a big blunt tonight. I'll join in. I don't have any blunt papers. I could smoke a joint. I could roll and smoke a joint. I could also try to find a better vape cart holder thing to vape out of for Rachel. Like, I suspect if I were to empty the whole basket out onto the ground, I might find another vape thing in there.
I think you're an amazing beauty.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's because I went to Lenore's School for Beautiful Boys. Yeah, she's a good kitty. Thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'm gonna just roll this joint so that I can follow Paulo's advice to the letter, since I don't have any blunt papers. I can smoke a joint with him. So let's do that. C. Rast. She's from Switzerland. She's going down the hill right now. Yeah, we got a bunch of snow. More snow than you can shake a stick at. Am I going to turn Muslim? No. It doesn't matter how many question marks. It still only is one question. But I have so many question marks. Surely it must be more questioning. How many times have you been to jail? I've never been to jail. I have been arrested before. I got arrested for marijuana possession in Oklahoma. I had to pay a fine, but I didn't actually see the inside of a cell at any point. How about you, Reese's Puffs? Or Reese Puffs? You have to turn Muslim to live in America now. That's definitely not the case. Hey, how you doing? Can I get a pack of Marlboro Reds? Um, are you Muslim? No. Then no, you can't. Don't you know this is America? You have to be Muslim to live here. Well, I mean, Chances of me becoming Muslim are 0. I'm not fond of Islam. As a sign of intellectual integrity to reject IQ and AI estimates you 140. What good does IQ do anybody? It's not. It's not. Sure, it's, I guess, intellectual integrity in some sense, but my point is that I can't justify any claim with that information. Somebody can present me as much information about that either way as they want, and it won't have anything to do with anything that matters at all. Well, it says, smoked all my life, just turned 65. I'm 54. I've been smoking weed since I was 14 years old. Cigarettes, I smoked for a little while, like when I was 17, like 20 years old. And then I quit smoking for 10 years, and I started smoking again. I mean, I understand why it came about, right? Like, there's all these, there's all these tests slash measuring sticks we have for various physicalities. Who's stronger? Who has better endurance? Who's faster? You know, who can hold their breath the longest? Whatever. And since athleticism, I guess, and other physical kind of things like that, it's, you know, people who have intangible strengths instead also wanted their shit to be measurable. But it's just like there's no reason to combine those distinct and disparate skills, right? Like verbal reasoning and like spatial intelligence, where like you can, if you turn this thing this way, what would it look like that kind of question. Those are totally different things. So why should you combine them into one score? IQ doesn't mean you're interesting could be a boring person. IQ doesn't mean anything at all. Like, um, it may be the case that people can make predictions based on IQ scores about certain things and have those predictions be more more frequently correct than, say, completely random linkages. But even to the extent that it is, it's like saying, well, based on this this thing's attribute, cumulative attribute score, it shouldn't go on this raft. It's not fit to sail across the river here. Well, what do you mean? I mean, the combined score of its color, its weight, its length, and its purpose category make it so that it doesn't qualify to, that if it's going to fail to make it across the river most of the time. Well, really, maybe it's only one thing that's making it fail to go across the river, namely it's too heavy. So it's going to sink the raft, sink it to the bottom of the river. We have included in, we found a corollary, that's more than just incidental. That says things with a high score in this cumulative attribute score um, will be more likely to fail and fall in this river or something. But in reality, we've just confused the fact unnecessarily because we could simply say it's too heavy. And the other thing is, even if some third party might be able to make predictions about you based on your IQ score, it's not like you can make predictions based on it. That would, I mean, it's like whatever it is that you're doing, say intellectually, you'll either find it something that's you're capable of, it's easy for you, hard for you, whatever, or you won't, right? You don't need a score to tell you this is too hard for me or this is not hard at all. So it just, it's not a very meaningful metric. There are people out there who are just like super geniuses and such. Like that Indian mathematician guy who who had all these dreams about math stuff. And then he sent it to this mathematician in England who said, like, what the hell is this crazy stuff? And, but was himself knowledgeable enough, talented enough in the field to recognize that this guy was a unique genius and convinced him to come to England, which took some doing because the guy was Hindu and there's some kind of prohibition against traveling across water. Did you guys ever hear that? Do you know that Hindus are apparently the same as vampires? You can't travel across water. So, anyway, he went over there eventually. He did various math work with that English guy. And died fairly young, unfortunately. What is the best way to build social skills as a person who is shy and socially awkward? Um, I don't really know, but I would suggest that the more opportunities for social events within social settings that you put yourself in, the more likely you are to see growth in the area. Maybe one of those things. I mean, it is an interface kind of thing, right? It's like you can't exactly go in with a plan and execute it, although you might go in with some like constraints for self or guidelines or whatever, but you have to, it's a dance. You don't know what steps you're going to do until you start dancing with the other person. So, Ramanujan, yeah, that's the guy, was a self taught Indian mathematician who claimed his complex, groundbreaking formulas were revealed to him in dreams by the Hindu goddess Namagiri. He frequently envisioned a red screen formed by flowing blood where a hand wrote up mathematical results in elliptical integrals, and infinite series. Yeah, he's an interesting guy, that fellow. Yeah, I watched a video explain the idea that's credited to him that it sometimes gets expressed as what's the sum of all numbers? And the answer is negative 1/12. But the actuality is he's saying, in that instance, he's saying, what's the, I guess, ratio difference between two distinct infinities? And I don't quite get the math, obviously, it's too sophisticated for my feeble, mm, you know, math poor brain, but am I nostalgic? I'm not very nostalgic. When I watch things that are very, like, era specific in a way that's evocative for me, such as Paul Van Scott, he makes these videos about like the worst shows in 1984 or 1985. When I watch those and I see the, say, the trailer, not trailer, but like the intro thing for the show, and or like a little, this, uh don't miss Wednesday night at 8, yeah, a little snippet about it, bumper about it, or whatever you want to call it. When I see that stuff, and it's so evocative of a, um it's so evocative of specific time in my life, it it makes me think a lot of like me being in my room back home in Arcadia, which eventually was my dad's room when Rachel and I lived there, but that was originally my bedroom. Prior to that, the house hadn't been remodeled, and I had a different bedroom that was in the old layout of the house. But that period of time linked to me watching TV in that bedroom there, and the aesthetic is so powerfully associative and it's triggering that it's kind of it's kind of haunting, you know. And often I will end up feeling kind of a shortness of breath that comes from, you know, I guess, stuff that draws one's attention to the passage of time and the span of a human life and various parts of life that comprise that. Hmm, a little bit. I was just thinking about how, like, one of the reasons why one tends to, like, so I think there's kind of a, what as what appears at first glance to be paradox, but it's not really a paradox, but um, that, like, I have a mostly negative relationship with the past in terms of memories that are likely to provoke some kind of an emotional response, they're most likely to be traumatic memories slash memories of my own failings or whatever, right? And the memory is likely to produce mostly bad feelings. But at the same time, when I look at earlier period in my life, say, when I was living in Temple City and working at Rebay, or when I was living in Laverne, or whatever, I'll tend to think like, wow, I really had a lot going on back then, and those were exciting times or something. But in reality, it's it is true that um, I have a more placid, less active life now than I used to because my circumstances have changed and whatnot. But it's also the case that what I'm really feeling there emotionally is a sense of uh, that it was just a time, just like any other time in my life, and it was a time with its unique qualities and specifics. But the thing that makes it poignant in some sense is that it's a time that's past and will never come again. And the older you get, the longer the list of such things is, and the the shorter the list of future possibilities. Yeah, it makes you feel some existential terror. Gets you right in the cockles of your butthole. Go South Korea, win this race with your ski skates. So, um, right now, I must say I'm feeling pretty good about things in general. Like, I feel as though the stacked difficulties of earlier in the fall and earlier in the winter, those have mostly resolved, and I just generally feel a lot less in a state of limbo than I have in a long time. Flame Warrior Golden. Ever since like 4 or 5, I was becoming aware of the shrinking amount of time and how much older my parents and their peers are, and the implications, visions of what is to come. I think retirees underrate working minimum hours at low wage jobs just to stay active and collect gas money, minimum effort, huge payoff, just staying social. Well, exactly what I'm uh, going to be undertaking here shortly. I wrote the letter. Thank you, Rachel. Well, I mean, not really say anything Flamware called him, but Jesus Christ. Cereal. just chock full of big copy and paste religious stuff, huh? God's love is conditional. You have to keep his laws if you want him to love you. Otherwise, he hates you. Whatever happened to, hate the sin, not the sinner? Okay, well, Jesus may be very logical, but Flame Warrior Golden, you are not. I'm in a bad mood. My cat woke me up at 4:20 a.m. this morning with her over grooming, i.e. licking next to my ear hole. I keep meaning to read the Bible, but the devil keeps me procrastinating. I say that because I'm wondering what else I could correctly guess about Flame Warrior Golden from what we've seen here today. Well, we can guess that they don't mind annoying people. I'm sure if we were to ask them, they'd say, no, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with annoying people. Because after all, I may be annoying, but I'm saving their eternal soul. Obviously, nobody got closer to the divine by being annoying. I think what happened is you ate some of the devil's soup. Because the devil's soup has many things in it that make you annoying. Flame warrior, come. Yes, Satan? Go. Go and evangelize. People hate that. Yes, Lord Satan. Two-handed waves. The two-handed wave is something that straight men in America don't do. Straight men in Korea do sometimes do that, though. They're trying to look, harmless or what have you. Women in America, though, some of them very well may do the two-handed wave. This one. Because they want you to know that they aren't going to just put up as much effort as required to lift one hand. They're going to use both of their hands to say hi or bye. So that in case one of your eyes is broken, you'll still see that they're waving. Not had the Jehovah's Witnesses around recently. Well, obviously, they need to spend most of their time witnessing Jehovah. Do you think you can just take a quick glance at Jehovah and get the gist of it and that'd be good enough? You are wrong. You are wrong. You need to really stand there and witness Jehovah, okay? It's like the Grand Canyon, but instead of for canyons, for, divine beings. You were stringing them along, huh? You're like, no, I'm serious. Just hold on. He's busy, but Joe is right in the other room right there. You want to witness him? Just chill for a bit. Let me get you some iced tea. He'll be done in a second. He's naked right now. Nude, naked, whatever you want to say. So that's why he can't come out and see you right at this moment. But if you just chill right here, I shit you not, the very Jehovah that you're so intent on witnessing will be out here in a minute. Think how proud you'll be when you share with your other Jehovah's Witnesses back at the lodge that you got to actually witness the actual Jehovah. And you know, God works in mysterious ways. Who would have thought he'd be right here in Gary's kitchen? I mean, if you knew Gary, you wouldn't be surprised, but obviously, you don't know Gary. Gary's not a Jehovah's Witness. Don't be confused. Just because I witnessed Jehovah doesn't make me a Jehovah's Witness, all right? I'm looking at a cat right now. That doesn't make me a cat seer. Yes, I see a cat, but that's not part of who I am, okay? It's just completely incidental to my identity. They actually invited me to their Kingdom Hall. Hmm. So you ask, so wait, is this place where you're taking me to? Is it like the hall for the whole kingdom? And by kingdom, do you mean America? You want me to come give a speech to you guys about what it really means to witness Jehovah? Well, I'm sorry, but I'm busy. And frankly, at this point, I'm beginning to think Jehovah's avoiding you. Because you're kind of cringy. Like, you know, see me going door to door saying, hey, look, I got Jehovah with me. Want to take a look at him? That'd be uncomfortable for me. It'll be uncomfortable for him. Oh, hey guys, it's me, Jehovah. Oh, he did come out. Glad you're here, Jehovah. These people here are Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, I know. Of course you would. Anyway, you Jehovah's Witnesses, you're going straight to the HE double hockey sticks. But why, Almighty God? You guys have the wrong religion. You're like a cult, basically. You tell people who join you that they need to sever contact with their non-Jehovah's Witnesses, family and friends. It's just bad. It's evil. So straight to hell you go. Sorry. But we don't want to go to hell. Join a regular Christianity. Like, I don't know, become a Presbyterian or something. Presbyterian? But that's so boring. It's what it's supposed to be, okay? It's not supposed to be like, just me and my other cult members get into heaven and all of the rest of you have to go to hell. No, it's you cult people to go to hell, so just knock it the fuck off. But oh Lord, don't oh Lord me. Maybe you'd get somewhere if you were talking to my soft son, Jesus, but today you got the Father, okay? You're lucky you don't have a whole mouthful of locusts right now. Ooh, locusts in my mouth. Don't think I won't do it. You want it to rain frogs? I could do that too. You want me to turn all of your rivers into blood? We don't have any rivers. All right, well, forget that one then. You want me to turn you and your spouses into pillars of salt? No. Excuse you, piggy. Cozy crack smoking puff pastry. And the last thing I can think about right here to my head, right here, right here, right here. Sounds good. It's not even a big hall. You go in there. I think hall is a bit of a stretch. How about, medium-sized room? Cathedral of the Giants. Jehovah's Witnesses Cathedral of the Giants. It's like, it's like the same size as a one-bedroom apartment. You are gay, right? No, I'm not gay. I am a heterosexual. That means that I mate with the opposite sex. But my wife and I are a gay couple. So there's that. Because, we do gay couple stuff like go to yard sales and eat dinner. you know, like at a restaurant, maybe. We do gay couple stuff like make intercourse at each other and be able to visit each other in the hospital in case of incapacity. you know, Gay couple stuff like that. We might, like, if we lived right there, we might go look at foliage in Vermont. Wow. Hitting up the black market for some smuggled Canadian maple syrup, which we then would rub on our antiques that we got in Vermont as well. And then we'd be like, why do we rub this maple syrup all over these furnitures? Now it's all sticky. Just throw it off the side of the road. Regardless, I like to believe the spirit of Vermont is within us. A spirit of brisk winter days, beautiful fall colors, and artisan honey. It specifies what kind of flower the bees ate. Oh, this honey? These bees only ate orange blossoms. Whereas these bees, they only ate California wild poppies. Okay, how really sure are you they only ate that though? Were you out there policing the bees if you saw one go to the wrong kind of flower, you're like, get away from there? You're in the orange flower bee category. You're not supposed to eat those flowers. I needed more from my antidepressant, so my doctor added Caplita. Caplita. It causes weight gain and sexual side effects, also dementia, stroke, or death. I love Caplita. I'm playing with my dog here on the beach. Give me some more Caplita. I'm not depressed. I'm not a bitch. Instead, I'm out here living life with my family. Thank God I let in the light with Caplita. That should be the song of that commercial. I'm no man. Rachel is no man, that's true. Who got mad for what? Stephen A. Smith. I meant. I'll go inside where I can read better. Do I have my glasses with me still? No. They disappeared. Like the hopes and dreams of a young America some 250 years ago this year. So let's see what kind of shenanigans are happening here. I didn't see what kind of horribleness. I'm talking to myself. Yes, I was indeed talking to myself. Good job timing that person up. So maple syrup in the eastern U.S. now. It's fine. Stephen A. Smith might be running for president. Maybe you were a little quick, but who knows? I don't know. It's fine. If he was a little quick on the trigger, then I apologize on Ruben's behalf. If not, then I don't, and shit happens. I am sore from all that snow shoveling. Obviously, I don't work out the muscles around my ribs very much. It's like there was a certain motion. I could tell that I kept doing it. It was gonna leave me sore. Like this motion, where I'm like twisted a little bit this way and scooping the snow with my scooping arms. Well, that's not an exercise motion my body is very accustomed to. Apparently, we're going to watch the cat some more. Yeah, I don't know why he needs to eat so much either. Well, he could have been genuinely confused by me saying that we were a gay couple. I thought my joke was clear enough, but maybe not. Alright, cat. You're a bad cat. Living in Reseda. Get some hair. Every bit of hair that I comb off of him and throw away is hair that I don't have to clean up later with a broom or vacuum. I mean, I suppose some tiny fraction of the hair I'm getting off of him might have ended up outside instead, but that's going to make a negligible impact on the total amounts of hair we're talking about. All that more hair. All right, let me flatten your hair out again. Right, it never stops coming. It's like when I have a runny nose on mushrooms. Just never stops coming. Or right now. Oh, this runny nose is mostly, I think, because I got a cold, partly because it is cold. But, you know, I might take Benadryl. I try not to take it since I learned that it links to dementia, but when I genuinely have a runny nose, and that's going to potentially make me sleep less well, I think it's worth it. Rabbi Cohen Shitstein. Okay, well, I don't actually think that's your real name. I think you're lying. Yeah, I know he said that, but I did say I was part of a gay couple, so it's possible he was genuinely confused. I don't know. Well, that was pretty obvious what I was meaning, but maybe not. Okay, now you can be timed out for sure, because you're ham-fistedly dumb political meowing is just no. You could just actually, if you insisted on talking about the subject, you could at least just say the Israeli possession of that land is unjust because of something specific, like that the legitimate possession of the land of the Palestinians, blah 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 blah. Instead of being so, I don't know, cringy about it. Jason Takatikin our local weather authority is playing in the snow, creating road conditions that are also quite hazardous. Have you been ham-fisted? Have I been ham-fisted with what? Krabul Shell Jackson. That person was being ham-fisted for sure. They were being, oafish in their discourse. Maybe oafish isn't exactly the right word, but Rachel's vape is done charging. I will hit it to test it out. But it just said it was done charging. Oh, this must have died. Oh no, it's not dead. Well, I guess it's not done charging yet. I gotta find the other vape thing or we'll get a different one, potentially. Ham. Ham is like the pork of sandwiches. Developing story. Obviously, the 8 skiers dead, 1 missing after avalanche. Wanted felon arrested for 36th time. 36 times, huh? Wow. Wow. All those tattoos on his head and neck and face do seem to suggest that he might have had a few run-ins with the law. Ramon Figueroa, father of Captain Raymond Figueroa. 6 years since the deadly library fire. I'm guessing that Captain Figueroa, yeah, he died in that tragic library fire that we all remember from 6 years ago, in Porterville. Where was the avalanche? I mean, aren't avalanches really just a psyop? Hmm. Oh, sure. All that snow just fell down for no reason. Likely story. That's what I have to say to that is likely story. People didn't used to believe in rogue waves. Um, periodically in the open ocean, you get waves of enormous size, 100 feet tall or something. And sailors for a long time have been reporting these rogue waves, but science never believed them because it conflicted with their understanding of how waves formed. Well, now they believe them because we have some footage of such, like footage from a ship. Let's see if this is working now. What the fuck, though? I guess it's not working. Oh, maybe it's one of the, maybe it's this problem. Yeah, it probably is that problem. Yeah, it was that problem. This, I guess, is part 2 of the whole um, slalom, women's slalom. Slalom. Slalom doesn't even sound like a real word. Like slalom, glarf, glarf. Doesn't sound like a real word either. Glarf, glarf. Sounds about as real as slalom. Glarf. How many glarfs in one slalom? 5 is the correct answer. Floral. You don't think floral's a real word? I think somebody made that up. Gardenia? Oh yeah, that's not a real word. Nobody's gonna mistake that for a real word. Well, that's what I aspire to do. Getrice Greenberg. When I first encountered this incredible face deformity, it was when one day I accidentally fell face first into a crocodile, open mouth, and he bit my face. After many, many reconstructive surgeries, this was as good as they could do. I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going out and I'm being me. I'm going out there and saying, look at me. Look at this. Don't look away. Now I make my living as a motivational speaker. The basic gist of my speech is like this, like, oh, you think you got it bad? I'm bullied. My parents abused me. I've got a deformed face. So maybe you should stop whining. Oh, that's a good one. I hit really good. We're going to try to do some gardening this spring. We don't have a labor force here, but I can find some show, mow, and blow guys. Who am I? You're Zara. Show, mow, and blow. What's the show part? They show up, they mow your lawn, they blow your leaves. Is the show part really necessary for that? It's like, can they mow and blow without showing up? No. You're a man on the inside. Well, I guess that explains why your hysterectomy failed. The show part is important because they often want contracts instead of be paid by the show. I see. Yeah, understandable that you might prefer to purchase your gardening services one-off. Like, look, I do need my lawn mowed and my bushes trimmed, but I'm not at all sure I'm going to need that again next week, okay? Who knows what these plants may decide to do. Well, Aliyah, I'm actually not your grandfather. But I get it, maybe you have face blindness. Or maybe you have, chronic mistaken grandfather syndrome, where you're nonstop mistaking people who aren't your grandfather for your grandfather. The mow show blow guys, they mow first, then they show up. That way, by the time they get there, the mowing's already done. Chronic mistaken grandfather syndrome is the newest epidemic plaguing America. Go into any, like park during a work day, and you will see young people thronging around in the park saying, "Grandfather? Grandfather, is it you? I'm not your grandfather. I've never seen you before." And then they just turn to the next old person, "Grandfather?" Well, there's no cure for it. But some experts have been suggesting that try to ease off of the grandfather fixation. You should try to transition from grandfathers to fentanyl. Fentanyl's kind of like the what's that stuff called? That you give to it's the methadone of grandpas. Yeah, well, there's one person in particular who likes to tell me to oil up more than any other, and that is staying off the grid. I always wonder about that, like somebody staying loyal to one thing for over and over and over and over and over again. I guess they thought like, I came in here one day, I nailed it with my greeting. Why change? No, fentanyl is the methadone of grandpas. Methadone is the fentanyl of oiling up. Is the Epstein? Is the Epstein what? Oh, am I Epstein? No, I'm not, obviously. My name's Eric, and I look nothing at all like Epstein. The stick that never ends must have some SI hardwiring. I'm thinking so as well. Well, I would be a little bit concerned as well if I encountered that fellow. In part because he's supposed to be dead, but additionally because who knows what kind of nefarious nonsense he might get up to. Well, I'm not white, actually. I'm fluidly transracial. And at the moment, I am Samoan, but that changes. Some people say he's not dead. However, I think of the possible frauds that might have been perpetrated, it's more likely that they murdered him and made it look sort of like a suicide than it is that they put a body, double body there and whisked him away to freedom. Because information that you once were able to leverage to accomplish things you wanted to accomplish suddenly becomes a liability if you're not going to get out of this thing anyway, right? Check out the face comparisons between Ghislaine Maxwell before she got into prison compared to after she went into prison. And then compared to her like 20 years ago. Well, it wouldn't shock me if, in fact, they did somehow manage to escape consequences. I watched a video the other night about how the forensic photos from the Epstein, you know, body were inconsistent with actual hanging, as as explained by this lady who's a coroner or something, mortician perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm not eager to believe far-fetched conspiracies either. Ruben says it certainly looks like a different nose and a different chin compared to just days or weeks before she had gone to jail. It's also the case, though, like if you look at different pictures of Paul McCartney, that he displays quite a bit of range in his facial features. Different pictures looks different. But I don't actually believe that he was replaced. Jesus loves you all, says fact checker. Well, thanks for the heads up. You know, I wasn't 100% sure about Ruben, but now I know, yeah, he's included. It depends on what angle the camera's at, but it looks like a similar angle. Her ears on the new inmate are lower, like they're below her pupil line. In other pictures, her ears like go almost an inch above her pupil line. Huh? Who knows? Who knows? Like, I don't think there's anybody who even begins to think that he actually self-deleted, you know. It's increasingly I think we all recognize that there are plenty of examples at this point for us to reasonably believe conspiracies that involve very rich and powerful people doing crazy supervillain stuff, you know? I'm very willing to believe that COVID was an intentional release. I don't know that that's the case, but I'm very willing to believe that. And it's not because I'm not being skeptical enough, you know? It's because it almost certainly was a lab created virus, almost certainly a bio intended as a bioweapon, and intended probably as a bioweapon for culling, or, reduce global population numbers or something. But I'm much less willing to believe that things turned out the way that whoever might have been in theory behind it intended. Yeah, I'm going to bed real soon. I'm tired. I'm super tired. But I have no idea what to do about any of that stuff either. When you've got outrageously empowered people who apparently can't be trusted to display even a modicum of normality or sanity, then what does a free and civil society, what's its remedy, you know? Try to get this person in jail and somehow, one way or another, the proper due process that presumably would be revelatory of additional um, co-conspirators gets thwarted. Very frustrating. Sounds like Denzel Washington, huh? Well, I'm not Denzel Washington. People often mistake me for him. Recently, I'll be walking down the road in town, and a horde of people will come running over to us. Denzel, Denzel, please sign your autograph. Oh, it's like, yo, I'm not Denzel Washington. I'm George Washington. You know, the guy who crossed the Delaware River in a boat. Yeah, that George Washington. American hero. George Splashington? I think all we can do is have conversations with each other and people really checking what's going on. Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the, I guess, unfortunately, negative feedback loop about such stuff is that it's often incredibly horrific and dark, and one wants to do one's best to look away, not to learn more. I mean, I would suspect that people nowadays have much more skepticism towards rich and famous and powerful people than they may be used to. Do you think that my referencing my crossing the Delaware was re-aggravating an old wound? Do you think I'm causing problems with any British people who might be here? Well, I'm sorry, Ruben, but I'm still holding a bit of a grudge to those redcoats. Gold medalist. Michaela Schifrin did, in fact, win the gold medal in the women's slalom. No, I think I might repeatedly draw attention to things that make you feel bad. Well, no, the way that you draw attention to things doesn't necessarily make me feel bad at all. It's drawing attention to realities that kind of defy easy solution. But it's not like the specific story of somebody being victimized. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I would love to agree people seem to be more interested in picking a side than having any actual truth to their beliefs. Well, when you're talking about people like Bill Gates, Epstein, Clinton, Trump, uh, maybe Trump because he's currently in office, but I think it's easy enough to believe that those people are bad without knowing even what side they're on. Like it's easy to believe that Harvey Weinstein is evil without knowing what his politics are. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with those fucking people. Well, the thing is, I think that the concentrated disinformation campaigns and stuff are an almost undefeatable strategy. If if you're a security agency or an intelligence agency like the CIA or something, and you want to make it unclear what happened for a certain occasion, say 9/11, in the aftermath of 9/11, there was this endless flood of quote unquote conspiracy theories that were predicated on all different manner of evidence, some of which was actually legitimate stuff, some of which was just complete bonkers garbage. It was textbook disinformation campaign. Like, what's the best way to hide the truth? Have a million idiots, or the imitation of such, all saying different reasons why the truth is true. You know, it's just like typology. Why can't typology find good footing in people's understanding of the world? Because almost every rendering of it is garbage. So the actual correct understanding of it doesn't have uh, hardly any ability to take root and win the narrative at all. The internet's not all propaganda. I mean, people do report things for a variety of reasons. You know, you've got many different people talking about the same things and or different things. It it is the case that the totality of human communications is not centrally determined and dictated from above, even though there's a limited number of news sources that are likely to you're likely to gain access to. Sure, but there's also legit, fair, equitable platforms like YouTube, right? What's the reason? Doesn't matter. Is there anything that does matter? Sure, lots of things matter. Could plantation shutters next to a black couch be a psychological operation? Well, no. In theory, this channel could be part of a psyop of some sort. If I were, in fact, a CIA person who was, or even just a popular YouTuber who the CIA contacted and wanted me to get on board with some particular kind of dissemination of information that they would understand the full reason why they wanted to disseminate it that way, but I wouldn't, or something like that. But the reason we can conclude that this channel is not a psyop is because of how unsuccessful it is. You see, if the CIA were making me into a psyop, then I'd have more than 8 people here. If people would explain typology correctly, there's only one debatable aspect of it, and it's axial cognition. The functions are just cut up pieces of attention. Jung shows 8. Well, no, the thing about cognitive functions is it's comprehensive of all attention because we start with acknowledging that there are two kinds of epistemics, knowing things and determining things, and two kinds of action, acting on in in the frame of a static system and acting in frame of a dynamic system. So, it is the case also that, for example, being configured with a certain dominant and secondary function implies necessarily the ways in which the other functions in their slots are conscribed in their possible attentional scope, right? Like because I have Ti as a tool function, I'm I'm definitionally the channel of deliberation is going to be occupied consciously anyway, almost always by introverted thinking, therefore almost never by introverted feeling. These things are just sort of necessitated by a correct understanding of what it is we're mapping. Well, in theory, diarrhea, you can make any number of possible dichotomies, and that's why it's important to do the work rigorously, right? Like, otherwise, you end up with socionics. You end up with people who've made up a bunch of dichotomies, have no distinction between things that are mechanical distinctions versus things that are just taxonomical or observed correlates, behavior. You have to correctly articulating typology means correctly articulating consciousness and the world. There are, in fact, 4 and exactly 4 possible fields where attention happens, right? In your head, external metaphysical, that's like the internet, physical world, and in your body is physical, right? And so um, it's not the case that there's one particular explication of cognitive functions that inherently necessarily must be exclusively correct, but as it always seems to be the case with explanations and such, it turns out that way. Could you not break the function? I mean, the thing is that aspect thing. It is true that um, we can come up with examples of extrovert intuition expressing in in with objects, like you like glue random shit together, you know. But that doesn't mean that well, I guess that we need that for the purpose of understanding attention. Like it's possible to talk about time dimensions with things, past, present, future, maybe at ongoing present to it or something. But that's not to the extent that you were to observe somebody, quote unquote, paying attention um, with a given function in the past or in the present or in the future, it still wouldn't be revelatory about, say, slot mechanics or something. It would just be incidental to that person. And we know it's not specific to slot mechanics because we can come up with examples of people using, like somebody like me who's got blind FI, using introverted feeling about the past, about their memories, about in the moment, in the present, feeling anxious or feeling like afraid all of a sudden because something startles you, or anxious about the future. Obviously, time dimensionality can't link to slot mechanics, or else we wouldn't come up with counterexamples like that, right? Right. Yeah. Um, Good model makes sure its borders are clear. Absolutely. I mean, countervalued. Well, it's because um, so like if you value Fi as your primary instrumental value, your tool function, then what matters to you is fundamentally authenticity, being true to yourself. And Fe, what matters is grace, being socially aware, mindful of how others are going to perceive things, right? If you're so your sixth slot function is always going to get in the way of your tool function. If in fact I have to pay attention to being socially graceful, then I'm not being able to use my tool function of what's authentically important to me, regardless of what other people think. Does the capacity of the tool function change dependent on type? Um, No, it's not really a capacity thing. It's a habitual use of it, and to when the world requires you to do something. Like, it's also the case that if you are thwarted in using your tool function, then you very well may demonstrate, that's why Sissy calls it demonstrative, your six slot function. You're going to go 3 or 6 or both. So Samuel Munoz says, fuck being socially graceful. That's the sort of sentence that somebody who has FE6 is likely to say. That's an example of countervaluing extroverted feeling, possibly because it runs afoul of his tool function. But you might also hear that from 8 slot might also say that. Oops. Well, it's still snowing, just a little bit. It's a very small amount of snow falling. I don't even know if you can see it, but slow and steady wins the snow pile. Tool function is not your calling. It refers to the way of paying attention that you use when, not just when you're at work per se, but when you're out in the world and you need to demonstrate something or solve a problem or whatever, right? So, like, I have introverted thinking as a tool function. It means that when I'm encountering something in the world, I'm going to, if it's a word kind of a thing, I'm going to check that for correctness, consistency against itself, and its own either implied or explicit metric. And then I'm going to, if it's not a word event, I might evaluate it for fairness, or I might also say by default bring a negationary kind of frame to advocacies. Like, I'm going to find reasons why a given advocacy is wrong more than I'm going to try to make up reasons why it's correct. So it's my tool function because it's the thing that I bring to the table every time I'm doing something in the world. And it's my default way of being serious, I guess you could say. So what's going to end up happening is you'll unavoidably butt heads with people who have your tool function as their blind spot, because like for me, I'll say, well, what exactly do you mean by this word when somebody's saying something? And if they're TI polar, they aren't going to like being pinned down to mean something specific. They might critique my attempt to parse out what exactly we can operationally determine from what they're saying. They might deem that to be black and white thinking, reductive in some fashion. They might prefer vagueness or want to agree to disagree rather than resolve a question. Well, I'll go read that when I get inside. So something about TI is metaphysical. NE is also, while SE is physical. Granted, it's the I can't read that all right now. Why are they showing the same Olympics I've already seen? They're just re-showing the same event again. I watched this earlier. It's time to go to bed. I engage my TI through observation rather than something, basically. I'll have to see it when I go inside. It is the case that, say, ISFJs, INFJs with third slot TI, they're going to engage with TI more through the kind of knowing frame, and that they're more likely to know whether something's fair, for example, than to determine whether, I don't know, some conditional statement validates. Regardless, it's a consistency thing. The thing about fairness is it's saying basically is something being applied consistently. Yeah. Right. Well, any TINI person is not going to be necessarily generating the things that they check for consistency themselves. You know, like ISTP will be just as good at figuring out what doesn't logically validate as me, but they aren't going to be coming up with much of the stuff that they're applying that test to, you know? Well, so I need to get a new fast charger brick and cord, I guess. It's unfortunate. But much better than the phone being busted. Does one end up valuing their third slot more throughout their life? I mean, I think it's basically the frame for validating your first and second working together is your third and your fifth. So, like, fifth is a kind of a pass-fail thing. Like, I can't fail to validate on NI grounds too badly, or else it won't matter if I validate on FE grounds, because the wrong people will be liking me for the wrong things. But I mean, I think one manages to grow up a little bit in the third slot over the course of one's life. Like, you still always have a kind of a child's relationship to it, which is to say, I can do it myself and um, also be kind of oblivious to some of your missteps in that area. Hi, Steve Billings. But certainly it's the case that my FE is better than it used to be. While it's also the case that I'm still often enough guilty of same kind of FE mistakes. The Quaaludes are kicking in. How lucky are we to have Steve Billings here? Incredibly, incredibly lucky. Yeah. Well, Harvey Levin has been receiving some communication from somebody claiming to have information about where that lady is. I actually watched a TNT video about it. Seemed interesting enough to justify watching it. All right. I think I'm about done here tonight. Seems like it's time to go to bed. I'm tired. I'm weary. I'm ready to rest my heavy eyelids. Well, I mean, it is true that your blind spot is also an absolute value. And it's been the case for me that as I've incurred some of the brutal harms from that place of least resistance, I have also, been able to generate abstractions about, like, that mistake was this kind of mistake, don't make that kind of mistake again, or at least don't make it to such a degree. So that's just SI, right? People can learn things with SI, even if it's not a cognitive function that's conscious at all, really, for them. They can still piece together some kinds of workarounds. Like, let's say you have a really bad relationship with the data your body's giving you, but you know that you do remember that last time you had this particular headache that started right here turned into a bad migraine. So you still will be able to potentially learn that if it repeats enough times and potentially learn some countermeasure and apply it, even though you're more or less blind to that kind of data. You can still piece together antecedents and consequence to some extent. Anyway, good night. And I will try to keep those sleeping insects off of my epidermis. I hope you all sleep well. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. And God bless America and the world.